So I had a dream last night, and you were in it, and we were like
What?
we were throwing away all your stuff.
I thought you were going to say we're throwing a football. Oh, man. All right, continue. We're throwing away my stuff for some reason.
Throwing away all your stuff because I don't know. I think at the beginning of the dream you were dead, and so we're having to get rid of all your stuff. But then you
Am
were
I a
alive.
ghost?
No, it's just you.
Okay. All
And
right.
then you were all like, I can't deal with it. I can't be here while you're throwing away all my stuff."
This is an accurate
Then I
dream.
had to comfort you.
Did you?
Yeah, I actually think.
Oh my
comfort you.
God, Dan, this is a moment. Even though it didn't happen to me, I'm feeling the love. I want you to know that. That's the sweetest thing you've ever done for me. I really appreciate it.
That's the true me, the me of dreams.
There's no way that's the true you, because that would never happen. You would set these things on fire right in front of me. Be like, "Oh, you like this one? What about now?"
Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. It's Hey Watching, yeah.
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
I'm Tony.
We're the dudes with the tudes when it comes to the movies.
Oh, close. Didn't stick the landing. So close.
Dudes with the dudes when it comes to.
Crudes, the movie.
Ooh.
Sequel.
Oh, we gotta do that one at some point. Nah,
I've never seen it.
It's a kids movie.
Well, you don't want to tear apart a kids movie? Remember when we did Tyrannosaurus Rex? What was his name?
See, that wasn't a kids movie.
No, it wasn't. I think it was supposed to be. It was PG, but it wasn't. Terrible film.
A lot of good sex in that movie.
Can't believe they didn't use gynecologist.
Whoopi Goldberg. Don't wear that out.
Whoopi.
Don't wear that outfit. Nope, don't wear that outfit.
I think she knows, Dan.
No, don't wear that
I think
outfit.
she knows.
You're gonna have to give me an extra $1 million to put this outfit on.
Just, you want me to wear that? Double my salary.
So each week, one of us picks a movie. Then separately, we each watch the movie and make notes. And then we convene back here on the internet or on the podcast and speak at length in minutia to dissect the movie more than the people that made the movie even thought about the movie. We're going to think about the movie even more.
That's right. And we can't stop. That's the problem with us, is I feel like if we had a tight 45, I think we'd have a huge podcast. I think people would love it. They'd eat it up. But they look at it and they're like, 97 minutes? That's longer than the movie. What am I going to do? It's not like you can play both at the same time. It's not a commentary.
Shannon said, "Oh, Tony can edit them." I'm like, "You can't edit gold."
I could edit them, but there's so much good stuff, Shannon.
Would they make even make any sense if you edited them?
I mean, I could, if I tried really hard, I could, but I do enjoy us. You know, that's the problem, is our egos are too big to edit. It's a real problem.
They're too big to be. I know. I watch these other shows, and they're like 20 minutes. I'm like, how can you say everything?
Where are all your
want?
jokes? I know. Where's all your interesting factoids? Nothing.
Where's your asides? So this week, I let Tony pick a movie because I do that.
Because those are the rules. Those are the rules. You have to let me pick.
That's true. I do have to let you pick. So tell us a little something about the movie you picked, Tony.
Well, I'll come out and say it. What we're both thinking is I blew it. This is a good movie. This is a solid. You don't agree? I wasn't sure how you were going to feel about it. I
mean, did I hate this movie? No, I didn't hate this movie.
No.
There was not much hateable. I mean, is it a good movie? No, it's absolutely not a good movie.
I mean, it's not a good movie as like if you wanted a full movie, but there are funny parts to the movie. There's a real lull in like there's 2/3 the way through the movie. It just stops for a good 30 minutes.
I'd say more like after the first 5 minutes of the movie, we have that lull.
You know, I agree. And I love Mark Wahlberg. Let me preface this.
I love
Mark Wahlberg. I love him.
Good.
But once he comes on the screen, it's not as good. The movie's not as good to me.
Well, we're gonna talk about that.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to get ahead.
No,
but we should talk. I haven't said the name of the movie.
We could be doing anything. We could be doing The Happening for all you know. We will be doing The Happening.
We will at some point. It hasn't happened yet.
Wait, what?
It will happen. This week, something dropped on Netflix that I'd wanted. As soon as I saw it, I was like, we got to do this movie. It is a Kevin Hart banger. Guys fire on all cylinders. And of course, it's called Me Time, which I thought was going to be relatable to my life, but it's not.
I mean, no. Well, I mean, yeah, no.
To an extent, I get the general premise of
Sure.
the movie. I don't think they did it the right stuff with the premise.
Well,
but
if the movie was about someone like you, who really is nowhere in their life.
Okay, let's choose our words a little more carefully.
In this movie, it's Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg. Kevin Hart's not rich, but Kevin Hart has a freaking gigantic house. He is want for nothing. And even when we get to the big twist in the movie, he's still want for nothing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he just gives away $47,000, and it's hardly a fight. There's a little bit of a fight, but she's like, it's not even about the money. It's not about the money. $50,000 just thrown into the air? It would be about the money for me.
I mean, and that's the whole point is that's a hell of a lot of money, but it's also, if you're living the kind of lifestyle that Kevin Hart's character is, it's not, it might set you back a year in what you're doing, but it's not like setting you back 10 years.
It would set me back. How old am I? 37. It would set me back 37 years, Dan. Or more, because I don't have that money yet. So I'm still working towards it. Conservatively, I'd say it sets me back 48 years.
And we're kind of tipping the bit of it all. It's about money.
Dan loves that too, guys. I don't know if you've watched this podcast before. Dan loves plots about money.
When there's all sorts of things in this movie that they set up that it could be about.
Yes. Yeah. For real. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll go to the beginning and let's just talk about his character for a second, because you're right.
Kevin Hart's character.
He's doing fine. And I understand the general conceit is that he wants to feel important because he's the quote unquote housewife, not my words, their words.
Yeah.
He's the stay-at-home parent and he doesn't feel important or something, which I understand the idea, but my problem is this, Dan, is he is crushing it. He's so good at it for the most part. Like he makes the breakfast, like the sandwiches, he goes to school, he's the leader of the PTA. Like he has a lot of things that he's doing very well and he's very involved. And just the general conceit of the movie, I'm out. I don't believe that this guy needs more validation.
Well, and they have to work super hard to get him to the point where it's like most people, it's the that kind of thing, he's going to reach a breaking point. Yep. And it's going to be a breaking point, and he's just going to be like, screw it, and he's just going to walk away, and then the wife's going to be like, oh, okay, you do this because we need you. We can't survive without you, but you get a week. It's the hangover. Yep. You guys are all allowed this week.
Yep.
And that's Shannon and I were sort of discussing this, and there's like a lot of very absurd things that happen in this movie, and a lot of them didn't work for me because they were so absurd.
And
And she's like, well, The Hangover has all those absurd things, and I'm like, yeah, but you feel that ball rolling. He exists in a very realish kind
really
of world,
grounded world. Yes,
that stays really grounded, and it doesn't ever like start ramping. And that's what's bad about the first scene. I was like, okay, here we go, because the first scene's pretty rampy.
It's pretty outlandish.
And then we pull it way back, and I don't think we ever got going again.
We never get going, but we do throw darts out there again.
Sure.
Like the mountain lion scene, which we'll get to, is so stupid. It's so dumb. I don't hate the scene in general, but in this movie, it doesn't fit for me.
Oh, good. I was thinking you were going to like it because we'll get at.
Yeah,
okay.
we'll get there. they have two competing ideas and they did not marry them together. Like there's one movie where it's very grounded. It's about a suburban dad struggling with his identity, right? But then you have this other movie that's like crazy, wacky things are happening and they can't marry them together.
And I think I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna blame political correctness on it.
Oh, wow.
Because they don't let him go all out.
Yeah.
They don't let him burn down the house. They don't let it. They're like, everything's like, we're going to go sort of to this edge and then we're just going to instantly pull it back and it's going to disappear and everything's going to just float on out. And you're going to be like, oh, yeah, he's a state, and you go back to get him to the Greek, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Jonah Hill does 1,000 drugs, calls up his really good girlfriend and like breaks up with her. Or he blows up his relationship essentially.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
And he blows up his job, his relationship, and does a bunch of drugs and looks like he's going to collapse his whole existence.
Yes. That's correct.
That's where you got to go on a movie.
You got to bring him all the way to the edge. You got to bring him all the way to that breaking point and then try to rebuild it back.
And the flip side of all that is Mark Wahlberg's character, what's his name? Huck
it up.
Doesn't really do anything terrible.
Okay. See, now that's also my problem is he is not extreme enough.
He's not extreme at all.
In the first scene, they set it up as if he does extreme things. He's crazy, blah, blah, blah. He's like, we've known 29 years and every year it gets crazier. I can't do it anymore. But we don't ever really see that guy. We just see a guy who kind of just didn't grow up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he owes someone money. Great. Okay. I don't give a shit.
And I think that's, it's like you have a couple of millionaire stars sitting in the movie. They do not want to be the ultimate butt of the joke. And you mentioned it, the whole house husband thing. They should have been unmerciful about that.
Oh my gosh. Yes. 100%. He should be shit on all over the place.
What was the Ben Stiller one where he's like a male nurse? The one about the dad. It's Robert De Niro.
Oh, Meet the Fockers. Meet the Parents.
Meet the Parents.
Yeah.
He's like a male nurse, and they beat that joke.
Yeah, they berate
to death. And it's funny. You're just gonna keep doing it.
I've got nipples. Can you milk me? Sorry, that's a great joke.
That's a great joke that lasts forever because you're making fun of the thing. And if he's like, there should be diaper changing, there should be just a million jokes, but instead we keep bringing on all these weird secondary characters that like sort of have these interactions and you're like, oh, they're going to put all the crap on this other guy that we don't care about that's going to just walk out of the scene.
Yes. Yes.
So we start it. Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say also going back to get him to the Greek / forgetting Sarah Marshall. It's pretty clear that they really want this rich business tycoon guy to be Eldest Snow. That was all I saw in this movie was like, oh, they want him to be Eldest Snow. Got it.
Wait, who do they want to be?
The rich guy, her boss or whatever.
Oh, that poor guy.
Yeah, that poor guy who isn't, I don't think, funny. Maybe he is, and it's just a script. I don't know. But they have several inappropriate jokes that he can't pull off correctly, that if you had someone.
Well, he's sort of a short guy, and they don't make him into a thing of female desire.
They try because the Uber driver sees a picture and she's like, oh, yeah, he's so hot or whatever. She's fucking terrible, but we'll get there. Sorry if you're listening,
I thought you
lady.
said you like this movie.
So hold on. I do enjoy this movie. I can still poke holes in movies that I enjoy because Kevin Hart is great in this movie. To me, he has a lot of great jokes. All of the things that they set up as jokes do not work, but when they just let Kevin Hart talk, he's a funny guy and he can make things fun. I have several things written down that I'll point out that were very funny to me, Dan. It's just, they try to make him sex. Like they say he's desirable to women, and then they gave him a very young girlfriend at the end. Spoiler alert. He's not attractive or charming. He's He's just weird.
He's just
weird. And that was a big miss. Big miss, guys.
So we set it up. Marky Mark's having his 29th birthday. He's like a 52-year-old man who's standing
Minimum.
there acting like he's having his 29th birthday. They're doing the flight suit things.
Yeah.
The helicopter has left them. Kevin Hart's character is terrified. The helicopter blows him off, and he's in flight suit. Then Marky Mark jumps off and joins him and coaxes him. He's like, make the starfish. And he makes the starfish, and they're like...
But first he says, starfish don't fly, and he's flapping his wings. I don't know, I chuckled.
It was funny. It was on a green screen. It looked terrible.
Yeah, it looked so bad.
I loved that. I loved it. I thought this was like, okay, here we go. We're going to get to this party. The party's going to be out of control. Yeah. It's going to end in this crazy stupidity. And then we just like go, 100 to 0.
It felt like two different movies from before the credits to after the credits.
He gets attacked by a bird while he's doing it. And he goes, they've got sharp teeth.
They got sharp teeth. Yeah. Yeah. I'm ready to go. Oh, I'm ready to go.
The parachutes pop open and it has Mark Wahlberg's face.
Mark Wahlberg's face.
Big 29. I'm like, okay, here we go. This guy is over the top. He's going to do the things. And, Kevin Hart's going to have nothing and he's going to have to draw into this world. Boom. We have the titles. They've been friends since they're 5-year-old. He lives at Sherman Oaks. And then we just set him up as the perfect Mr. Mom, Dad.
And that's where I have a problem, is that he is perfect at. Other than the fact that this also, the characters are very inconsistent in this movie. Mm-hmm. The fact that he cares so much about this talent show.
Oh, the talent show in the first 5 minutes and then in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's anyhow, but he's so good at it. He doesn't seem like he's drowning at all. I feel like a guy who needs the break needs to feel a little overwhelmed. And he's like, I'm doing all this and I'm not for nothing. I'm not getting any recognition. I'm just like killing myself doing this and this and this. I need some me time. But he's just, having a good time. He seems to really enjoy his life from what I can tell. I don't know. It's weird.
He actually has no complaints about his life, and he has to be convinced by a lot of other people that he has complaints about his life.
Tell him his life's great. He's like, no, it's not. My life's great. They're like, no. Listen, your life sucks. It's the internet. That's what this movie is. All of his friends are the internet, and he's living a good life, and the internet is just telling him that he's a piece of shit.
And at one point they make an analogy to this crossing guard woman, and they're like, you're going to end up like her. And he's like, let me think about that. And you're like, if you looked at your life, he'd be like, I'm super happy. I'm not going to end up
doing fine. And she's also doing fine, it turns out, which is it doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't know, Dan. It's a weird setup for the movie. I enjoy that first scene, but I do enjoy Kevin Hart in this scene. It's just a different movie.
Sure. So he trips on turtle poop.
Okay, we do need to talk about this.
He trips on turtle poop. They have a rescue turtle, and there's this sort of weird, I think that...
Why are there so many tortoises in this movie?
I think that the tortoise lobby needed someplace. There's a few product placements, and I think one of them is the tortoise lobby.
One of them is the tortoises.
Because they have to have a tortoise. The other guy has a tortoise and also wants to open a tortoise rescue center.
There are more tortoises in this movie than I've ever seen in my entire life. Even at the zoo, okay? It's ridiculous.
And the thing about it is, you've already set up the tortoise now, and so when we have a tortoise way later in the movie, it's not surprising.
I thought it was the same tortoise. I was like, what, did they bring the turtle? What's happening? I don't understand. Very strange. And did they set up that they got that tortoise from him? I don't remember that.
They explain at a certain point why they have it.
I don't know.
They got it from him. Yeah, they
it's
sort of say
super
that.
Weird. People don't have tortoises, guys. And two people that are very good friends happen to have tortoises. Very strange.
So, Tony. Oh, yes. You keep going about. Do you have some more things to say about the tortoise poop?
About the poop. Yeah, that was a separate thought. Now, the tortoise poop, this is a terrible gag. This is one of those things that they set up thinking that they're being clever, and it's awful. It's so bad. So he slips on poop. Doesn't clean it up. Doesn't clean, just continues on with a scene for 6 minutes, never cleans it up. First of all, he's got to be covered in shit because he slipped in it. So he's got shit on his pants, doesn't clean it up, and then he slips on it again later, and he's like, oh, same poop. Stupid. So stupid.
And that's the problem with this movie is they do these things that radically affect the scene, and then they move on from them so fast that the scene is, they act like they don't affect the scene.
Yeah, and totally ignore it 100%. And now here's my problem is I still enjoy the scene other than this very distracting looming, like, why isn't he cleaning up the shit? Why isn't he doing it? I thought that the whole time.
And this is the whole Dan Goodself thing of every time you take us out of the scene and take us away from the situation, take the audience out, you've lost more of the audience is just going away. And if you do it as many times as they do it in this movie, which is a lot,
it's like every other scene. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But let's talk about the phone call. Or are you moving on?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm good on the poop.
Okay. So then Mark Wahlberg calls, right? As he's talking with his kids, and it's weird, right?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I like the joke that the phone rings and he's like, oh, no, I'm not doing this. I'm going to ignore it. And then the kid's answering on the iPad. That has happened. I do find that very funny. I thought that was great. Now, he talks about a donkey show. He
talks about them going in search for a donkey show.
Right.
One of the earlier birthdays.
Which is like, that's not okay. let's maybe find something, because here's my problem, Dan. 29 was supposed to be the craziest one, and they're just jumping in flight suits. If you're telling me that that's somehow crazier than going to see a donkey show, your morals are all fucked up. Okay, so I had a problem with that lineage.
I'm going to tell you something.
Okay, I mean, I don't know where this is going, and I'm excited.
I went to South America like when I was in college,
and
a trip. At one point, it's either in Peru or Ecuador, walking down the street, there's a movie theater, there's the movie poster, hot woman, arm around a donkey.
Stop it. Stop it.
I have a picture of it somewhere. So,
well, why? How could you not? How could you not take a picture of that? That's an immediate, like, oh shit, we got to know what that's all about.
Yeah. Okay, so he's doing the donkey show poster.
He's doing the donkey show, and then I'm sure there's other jokes in there that I enjoy, but I just have to get to this part where he's like, I'll send you a picture.
Yeah.
And then the daughter sees it.
And
he sends the picture.
They show like half of it, so you just see the donkey like this.
And then the daughter's eyes are open, and and then we cut away as if it's fine. They're just moving out the door now. She is scarred for life. It's horrible. That is so horrible, and they do not deal with it at all. They just drop it, and they're like, "That's funny, guys. Let's move on." I don't understand how you can just leave that there and then move on.
I mean, if the little boy, because he has a little girl and then an older little boy, if the little boy saw it, he'd just be like, "What?"
Yeah,
the little girl. You can't show it to the little girl.
She's done, man. She's done. Her life is ruined. I just want to say one thing. One joke I really did like is that he's like, "Hey, where are you?" "I'm down in Tijuana. We were driving down to Redondo Beach and we missed the exit. And just kept going to Tijuana." Stupid line, but it made me laugh. So, hit or miss.
Laugh. So, we get to school. He basically works at the school. He's like a PTA guy, and he just helps out constantly and does all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, he does all sorts of things. That's the whole point. I don't understand it.
This Alan character who has a real minivan with automatic doors, and his kid is obsessed with the automatic doors, which he does this bit about like 4, 5, 10 times, and it's never funny. And talk about the Alan guy, though.
I need to be careful.
Oh, do you know him?
I do.
You know the dude?
Yes. Oh. So we used to work together.
Is he a comedian?
He is a comedian.
Oh.
I mean, yes, he's a comedian. Is he good or funny? It's personal choice, we'll say. Yes?
He has a huge part in this film.
He has a big part. He did great in I'm Dying Up Here, which is a show that was on Showtime.
Oh, he was on that show where there
He
were
was on
stand-up
that.
comics kind of in the 80s.
Exactly. And he did a good job on that show. I liked him in that show. He did a show for us where he was making jokes about sports, and he never made a joke. Never. You know what I mean? Like
he never landed a joke. Is what
he
you're
never
saying.
landed a joke. So see, I mean, his name's Santino, but Andrew Santino. I don't think he's very good. He did have a couple of chuckles in this movie.
Well, they give him a lot of major jokes throughout the thing, and
I don't know if that's him or them. If I'm being honest,
the jokes are all fine, and so it's kind of on him.
I meant the writing of the jokes. I don't know. There's a chance that he wrote some of them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm trying to give him credit because I'm also saying I don't find him funny. And obviously he's never going to see this because he's not going to watch my show. But I've never been a fan.
So they give a lot of real estate to this guy, and he doesn't really deliver. You know, some of the jokes are good jokes, and so they're funny. And you're like, oh, that was funny.
There's some good lines there, which again, maybe he wrote them. He can't perform them.
Yeah.
He's not a great actor. I think that's my biggest problem. He's also a dick. Just a dick.
Oh, in real life.
Yeah. So that's part of my personal feelings are leaking into this, I think. But I don't think he's very funny.
I was just surprised that they gave this guy so much real estate, and I'm just like, why did you pick this guy to give all the real estate?
Because he's on that trajectory. He's getting bigger. I don't know.
Giving him a shot.
Hollywood, man.
So we're at home. They've got this sort of hot girl who's the nanny or the help out or the babysitter or something. You're like,
all of the above. Yeah.
Okay. And then I wrote at dinner - spiritual guy. Is this like the award sort of dinner that they were at?
I guess maybe.
Yeah. So they're sort of at this awards dinner. And there's this guy, Armando, who we talked about earlier, who's supposed to be like the sort of spiritual guy opening the tortoise sanctuary. And Kevin Hart thinks that he's hitting on his wife. She's an architect, and she's going to design the house for him, and then is thinking about having her design something else later on in the movie.
Yeah. Yep.
He's like a little guy with sort of short hair and not really. He needed to be Russell Brand. Needed to be charismatic, sexy. Yeah. Like at one point he like touches her, and then later on Kevin Hart brings it up. He's like, he was 2 centimeters away from your one breast. It's the higher breast. And you're like,
so hold on, you blew that joke because it's a very funny joke, Dan.
Well, it would have been a funny joke if you actually felt that.
Correct. Okay, I agree with that, but I do enjoy what Kevin Hart does. And he's like, he had your hands on your shoulder for 6 seconds. 6 seconds, I counted it. You know why it bothered me so much? You got a high breast. And that line killed me.
See,
high breast.
Tony, I got to say, you did that joke better than what happens in the movie.
Dan, thank you. Thank you so much.
Like at this dinner, it's all these hoity-toity people. He calls the kid to yell at him about learning the keyboard, and we see the kid's always watching comedy. So we're like, oh, at some point, the kid's gonna have to do the keyboard, and then he's gonna want to do the comedy, and we're gonna have conflict.
I mean, they really telegraph, like, you know what I mean? I would have loved to just be like, oh, that's fun. You know, it's immediately, instead of doing keyboard, I'm watching comedy. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's what's going to happen at the end of the film. Why do I have to wait 80, 90 minutes for that?
We hit this beat very, very many times, and there's never anything funny about the kid not practicing.
Nope, not at all. But let's talk for a second. The only reason he calls the kid is because he's watching him on a camera. So that's kind of weird.
He's watching the kid on like the nanny cam and like yells at him through the camera. That was funny.
It's funny, but also a good way to destroy any sort of trust you have with your kids. I'm always spying on you. That's weird.
I think that's how parents are with all kids now.
I am not going to spy on my kid. He can do whatever he wants.
And then we sort of end with Kevin Hart telling a story about his kids to crickets from these terrible people, and we're like, oh, these people suck because they don't want to.
They do suck. It's a cute story.
Yeah.
Like my daughter, she's 6. She's learning Mandarin, and she got a Mandarin menu at a thing because I thought she was fluent. That's funny. That's cute. I'm not like, oh, that's hilarious, but like that's cute and funny.
Oh, but
fuck these people.
But they make these people giant assholes.
Yeah.
And then
even though they want to save the tortoises, bullshit.
And then at home, he complains about the stuffy people, and then he says, which I think is the whole thing, I grew up.
Yes.
Okay, that's your sort of central premise, and they sort of, play with that.
A little. Like a little.
And so the wife is like, why'd you tell that story? And, that wasn't true. And he's like, yeah, your kid's been doing Mandarin for like 6 months. What's wrong with you? And then this is like the setting up that she's got to reconnect with her kids.
Which they don't pay off. They don't pay that off at all.
They don't pay it off at all.
They don't pay that. So they hit it really hard. If it was just kind of a throwaway where she's not super. Oh, it's like, oh yeah, she deserves some kid time, but she doesn't know her kids at all. She doesn't understand them. She doesn't know them, and then we just send them away and don't deal with it. And I found that a huge misstep.
And she doesn't learn them. Then the two of them have sex as an apology.
That's not how marriage works, guys. Hate to break it to you.
So we go back. Now he's back at school the next day. Everybody's talking about freedom. We meet these weird characters, and we meet Drew Droge's character, Comb Over Stew. And he just makes these faces and these eyes, and you're like, okay, I'm ready. Give this guy some lines. Give this guy some...
they don't.
They give him nothing.
They totally waste. I don't know, man. I was really bummed. I was like, oh, okay, here's some fun, weird stuff that's about to happen. And they don't really give him the platform to be as weird as they set him up to be.
We know Drew Droge. I've had classes with him. I don't know if you've probably had classes with him.
He taught my advanced improv for the first half while someone was on sabbatical.
One of the funniest people I've ever had classes with, and one of the most adept comedians ever, and just what he does with
sweetest guys. If he's on your set, you're having a great day because he's so nice and he's so giving. I don't know.
Remembers stuff, remembers you. Like, I remember he brought up some scene I'd done where he was directing it, and he like brought up some scene I had, and you're just like, you remember my stupid scene when you see 100, 200 scenes a week.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. Amazing guy. And it's sad. We do the crossing guard thing. Alan's going to be his wingman for the week of me time. The kids leave. They make sure to give the kid his EpiPen,
which she didn't even remember he needed.
Well, yeah, there were 2. There's a whole 2 EpiPens.
Well, because he keeps one on him at all times. Because what if it happens in the field?
So they leave, and then he's at home alone, and he's like, okay, does the dirty dancing, goes in there, puts on the vintage porn, and they come back. And it was so embarrassing and funny, and they let him off the hook in like 1 second without any consequences.
Yes, dude, it's such a great setup to a joke. I was 100% into this. Like, aside from the weird dance, Kevin Hart shouldn't dance. Let's just throw it out there. I did not enjoy the dancing.
I liked it. I thought it was embarrassing.
Oh, it is embarrassing. Okay, maybe that's what he was going for. I was just like, listen, if I was in that scene and they were like, you got to dance, I'm going for it. All right, this is my free time. Doesn't matter. He strips naked. 90s porn is a great choice. That's very funny. And then he's in bed, totally naked. Daughter walks in. 6-year-old daughter. And again, just like with the donkey dick, they drop it and then she's fine. They just leave. And the wife's like, oh, you finish.
More importantly, why isn't it the boy, who's not, who's going to be like,
why do they keep traumatizing the daughter? That's so weird.
Is that funnier because it's more intense? But it's like, I don't know, showing a dick to a little girl, that seems weird.
That's illegal. That's what that is, Dan. That's illegal.
Wow.
Also, here's the thing. I think that she's going to be in therapy in about 15 to 20 years. She's going to be like, I saw my dad's penis. I saw a donkey's penis. I am all fucked up.
Tony, she's an actress. She's not going to be in She didn't actually see this Kevin Hart's penis, so you can't
Dan,
think
you
that.
don't know. Kevin Hart is method.
No, Tony, you can't make that assumption about it because she's not that character. It's
Are
Tony
you telling me this is all made up?
Okay. So
We should be keeping a scoreboard of all the jokes that they set up and then totally missed. That bums me up.
So he calls Alan. He's like, "Hey, Wingman, let's do it." And Alan's like, "Oh, I just went to Legoland with my kids." I love that. It was like so weird.
So random.
But talk about the how much money Lego paid for this movie.
They must $1 billion, 10, all of it maybe. Maybe they paid for all of Kevin Hart's salary. There is so much Lego shit in this movie. The literal Lego land. They're in a Lego room filled with Legos. The kid is building a Lego Death Star. Lego is. I mean, it's too bad that this movie isn't doing well. Otherwise, they'd be making a ton of money.
Yeah. Well, no, they pay the money.
Well, right, but you. In hopes that it returns the favor, but I don't think anyone's watching this movie. So I don't think anyone's watching me like, you know what? I should go get some Legos today.
So now we do like his 3 big things he's going to do. He goes to play golf, and he ends up playing these old ladies and gambling, and then he's terrible at golf, and then they take his money. Hold on, let me run through the 3, and then you can talk about all of them, Tony. He goes to eat ribs. He gets everything. They're hot, and then he barfs on everyone. Yeah. The third one is he goes to the titty bar, and the babysitter Skylar works there as a stripper.
Yeah.
Go, Tony. Which ones do you want to address?
Well, 2 of the 3 are very funny to me. The first one is my favorite bit of the movie. The golf
one. Okay.
The golf is so good because I don't know if we've all done, but a lot of us golfers have gone and been like, well, I'm a single, so I'll just join whoever is there. And it's never an experience you enjoy. You always go thinking like, I'm going to have a good attitude. I'm going to enjoy myself and I'll just try to be friendly with these people. And it's always shitty. It's always the worst day of golf. You're playing terrible because you're in a weird environment. You're in your head. Everyone's like, oh, this fucking guy's really dragging us down. They hate you. You hate them. It's a tough experience. But I love that he like bets down, doubles the bet, and then the Grant, this old woman just like knocks it over, and he's like, "Oh shit!" But at the end of it, he's like, "I got hustled," and then she gets mad at him for gender profiling, and I think that's such a good bit. She's like, "You thought we were gonna be terrible? That's gender profile." I was like, "Nope." It's very funny. It's a great bit. Just watch that scene. If you don't want to watch this whole movie, just watch it. 2-minute scene. It's very funny.
And then you like the food one where he barfs.
I like the food one because that's me. That's me. When he's just picking out meats in a styrofoam container, and he's like, "Let me see what happens when you close it." And they close it, and it closes. He's like, "Put 2 more on there."
That's a good joke.
I was like, dude, I do that every time. It's like, can you fit just a couple more? Can you squeeze them in there? Just push really hard. You can fit it. Thank you. It's good. It's a good bit. I didn't care for the vomiting. Unnecessary joke. Unnecessary. Oh, you like it? I don't love the bodily project. I don't like it either end. I don't find those jokes funny.
It was a little extreme.
It was a lot extreme.
I mean, there should have been they should have made fun of him for a while, because he was sweating. There should have been like a competitive, and he's just eating it, and he's just like, because I remember one time I went to Pink's and I accidentally got something hot.
Oh, Pink's is the best.
And I'm terrible at that. I'm just like, it's my lunch, so I'm like, gotta eat my lunch. Oh, I'm dying here. You're like, pump that. So then he's working on his own kid's Death Star Lego, and so he's like, okay, I'm gonna go see Huck. I'm going to the party.
Did we miss? We must have missed this. I need to point out something in their argument. The wife, him and the wife's argument. When the boss sends her a GIF or a meme from Bridgerton,
yeah,
that is inappropriate. That show is all about sexual tension. That's what the show is literally. And he's sending her. That's inappropriate. You don't send that to someone else's wife. You don't. And also, she watched it with him. Again, that's a red flag from me, Dan.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole point where the two of them watched something on an airplane that was on the husband's.
Bridgerton. They
was
watched
Bridgerton?
all of Bridgerton, even though it was on their watch list. First of all, you don't watch something that's on your watch list with another man. You don't do it. That's to me a divorce.
That's a
it.
deal breaker.
That is one bridge too far, my friend. But especially Bridgerton, which again is a show literally all about sexual tension and turning women on. Like that's what the show. Not just women. Okay, I was very aroused at Bridgerton. It's it should have been something different. It should not have been Bridgerton. That's my only thing because it's inappropriate.
So he gets to the party, thinks it's on the boat. Huck is nude. And then everyone's actually skinny dipping, and then it was like, whatever. And then we find out he works at WeWork, and then here's some stuff where it's kind of funny. We set up that he wanted to be in music. He's called Dr. Silk, and everybody's sort of questioning him about it, and they're like, "Oh, where's it streaming? Where's it this?" And he's like,
"Are you on Spotify?
I could send one to you snail mail, whatever."
I don't have anything that can play that. It was a good bit.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a good run.
And there's those kind of things that are like real, where we embarrass him. That you're like, okay,
because he needs to be the butt of the joke. That's his life.
But then at times we have like that other guy, the beekeeper guy, is like just saying all these words, and you're just like, why is this guy talking?
He's a child star, and I don't know what he's from.
Is he?
I know him. I'm gonna look him up.
And once again, he's a character where every scene he's in just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but he's in a bunch of them.
A bunch of scenes.
That's pretty cool.
So they've gone out to Death Valley. It's about us. There's a giant statue of Mark Wahlberg. Very funny.
Very funny.
It's going to be our own Coachella. And then the bus, he's like, where am I supposed to poop? And then the bus is just driving away. And we just see it, cresting the hill. And you're like, okay, he's in it now.
And I do enjoy the bucket joke. I will say that.
We haven't got to the bucket joke yet.
Okay, I'll calm down.
Oh, whoops. Okay. So the kids have gone to see Grandma and Grandma, who are someplace in some tropical islands?
I don't know. It was very unclear to me. I didn't understand. And then the kids asked, hey, do they have internet? And she's like, I don't know. It was all very strange to me. I didn't understand.
And then Armando flies in there on this little plane?
On like a little seaplane. Yeah. Because that's, I guess, the only way to get there. I don't know.
That little kind of plane, I don't know. The space and time of this thing is like, why are they out
very
of the
confusing.
Country?
Yeah.
Like just have him be in Colorado and he's thinking of building a ski mansion or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
Instantly, when you take people out of the country and then other people are having their own modes of transportation to get there, and then other people come back and it takes them 30 seconds, you're just like, I don't understand anything that's happening with this movie.
No, it was pretty wild. Pretty wild.
And it's for no reason. Okay. So they're going to get Primal, no service, but there's like massages. And then we do the hunt for food thing. Talk about hunt for food, Tony.
Well, I'll tell you right now that I would be out. They're all about foraging, and I assume, what are you killing in the desert? Probably bunnies, maybe rattlesnakes, like they say. I don't know. Maybe like some sort of critter. I wouldn't be able to do it, and I don't think this is a fun party move. They all take out giant knives, and it's very Lord of the Flies, and I don't appreciate it.
And it doesn't make any sense. I didn't look it up, but you
not.
Cannot go killing animals and things in Death Valley. You can't just wander off and kill things.
I didn't even think about that. It's not like it's hunting season. That's a good point.
These people are not going to be able to kill anything. And then we never deal with this. We never talk about the food they brought back. We never deal with
anything. No, because then we go to the oyster bar. That's the only food we really see is like this oyster bar that they clearly brought from somewhere. It just doesn't make any sense, Dan. It's stupid. Why? What is the point of any of that other than to get everyone else away so he can take the bucket? I don't know.
So to poop, there's no bathrooms. There's luggable loos, which are paint buckets that are also toilets, which you could just leave by the side of the road because that's okay. It's sustainable in some weird way that I don't understand.
I don't know what the joke they were making there was, but whatever it was wrong. It was not.
So he climbs a hill. sits down to poop, and here comes this little baby wild cat.
Cutest little cat you'll ever see in your entire life.
Cutest little CGI cat you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah.
And then, boom, there's the mountain lion mom. He fights with the mountain lion mom, and then he comes to the conclusion that the only way he can defeat it is by poking it in the neck with an EpiPen.
Yeah. Now, is that going to kill the cat?
I don't know. It's going to do nothing to the cat.
Okay, I don't.
They act like he's shot it with a tranquilizer dart.
Correct. Yeah, that's what they act like.
The cat wanders off. They pull up his shirt. He has these claw marks on his back that are 5 inches long and got to be
deep as shit.
3/4 of an inch to an inch deep.
And we never deal with it again after this.
Oh no, he comes in the next scene and he has a bandage wrapped around him. And
that's it. Okay.
And he's fine.
Yeah, he's totally fine. No, he needs to go to the hospital because, first of all, that's definitely infected. Like, without a doubt, those are cat scratch fever is a very real thing. I can only imagine a desert cat is going to be even worse.
A cat that walks in poop and,
Well, apparently so does he, and he doesn't care. So.
And this was the one where, I was I won't say I checked out, but I was just like, nothing in this movie is going to have consequences.
100%. Here's the thing. I don't hate the joke that the baby cat comes and then the mama cat comes. I don't hate the setup of that. But then he runs down the mountain and somehow beats the cat to the bottom. That would never happen.
Well, more importantly, he stops before he's there to look back to see if the cat's still chasing him.
Also he stops. Also, he throws the baby cat. He's like, fuck this, and throws the cat. And at that moment, I was like, Mama, eat him up. Eat him up. He's a jackass. But then the cat tackles him to the ground. They roll around, and all he comes away with is that scratch. He's dead.
Well, it tackles him once, and then it gets him again. It gets him twice. It doesn't just get him once.
He's dead. He's a dead man. Why is the cat leaving? And just because the EpiPen at the end, but none of it makes any sense. It's stupid and it doesn't fit in this movie. And as soon as that happens, I was pretty much done. I was like, okay, I'm checking out. Until Seal comes on, then I come back in. Just for the record.
They name him the big dog. He calls Mom and the kids. Kids tell him about Armando being there. He calls Pops. This was actually. He calls Pops a cheater. He calls her dad a cheater.
You're right. No, this was very funny.
Very good joke. And then it sort of goes back and forth, and it turns out he cheated in some game they played.
Oh, some game. He cheated in golf. Okay.
Oh, he cheated in golf. Yeah.
He's taking 6-foot gimmies, Dan. That is not allowed. It's very funny. Again, the two golf jokes in this movie, very solid. Whoever wrote it must play.
John Amos is the dad. He used to be the dad on the Jimmy Walker 70s TV show.
Okay.
And it's really sad because this was a good scene, and they just drop it. They just like, oh, we got to get out of this scene.
Well, yeah, I mean, they have way cool things to do in this movie. They got jungle cats. They got all sorts of fun CGI things they got to get to.
So here comes a car out in the desert. Oh, this is going to be the surprise guest. Instead, it's the guy from the team Silicon Valley.
Oh yeah, sure.
And Huck owes him $47,000, but before he goes, he's got to break one of Huck's fingers, and then Kevin Hart's like, I'm responsible. So they break one of Kevin Hart's fingers with a hammer. On a piece of wood, they take a hammer, and they hit one of his fingers. Too. Oh, hard. No, it's destroyed. His finger is destroyed.
Oh, yeah, it's shattered. The bone is shattered. He's never getting that again. It's done.
Until he plays piano later on
in about 15 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's the same night. I just want to keep everyone remembering it. This is one night.
Clawed to death by a thing, finger destroyed.
He's
did not go into
out
shock.
The back. His finger shattered, and he's fine. He's totally fine, even in this scene.
And then they flamethrower the whole camp.
Yep. Why does she have a flamethrower? That's crazy.
I thought that was funny.
Okay.
I thought it should have been like, oh, you're not going to do the finger? We're going to,
sure.
Okay. I mean,
we'll torch
are you sure you don't want to do the finger? No, I'm not doing the finger. Okay. Flamethrower comes out. No explanation.
You're like, what the
They
explain fuck?
They explain the whole flamethrower.
Yeah,
they should have just had her pull this thing out, and flame should have shot out. It should have burned something that was 1 foot away, and then she would have just torched the whole thing, and he should have just been like this. But is he
jaws on the floor?
Is he affected? Is he affected by anything?
Nobody's ever affected by anything in this movie except for Seal. When Seal comes on, Kevin Hart is affected.
Oh, that's true. So everybody leaves on the bus except them, and they're going to get a Uber to come out and pick them up and drive them back. And he's like, "Oh, look, the oysters are still left. Let's put those in bags. We'll get in an Uber. The Uber will take us back to town." Talk about the Uber ride, Tony.
Oh, Dan.
Who is this woman in the?
I don't know who this woman is. I feel like. Oh, shoot. I forgot the other woman's name.
Oh, God. What was her name? There was this woman in. Did you ever watch Hacks?
No.
Hacks. There was this woman who worked for the agent, the girl's agent, the comedian girl's agent. And this woman was just so fucked up and so crazy.
Okay.
and just like every time, she just screwed up everything, but she was like his boss's daughter.
Yep.
And you're just like, perfect. She has power, but she's not powerless. She would just fuck things up. And this girl's freaking hilarious comedian. This woman, sadly, not a freaking hilarious comedian.
No, she's not funny. Full stop. Full stop right there.
And she is the third wheel of 3 big scenes.
Yeah, they keep bringing her back, and every time they bring her back, I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing? I understand it's in your script. Rewrite your script. After you shoot the first scene with her, you rewrite the script. You say, you know what? We missed on that casting. Sorry, guys. We're going to have to rewrite the rest of this movie because we can't have her on screen over and over again.
Think of Deadpool and what's his name driving the cab.
Yes.
Dude's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Delivers his lines, delivers his comedy. This poor woman.
And they give her some funny lines, and she cannot deliver them.
Because you don't buy it. You don't buy this character. You don't know. Yeah. Well, in addition to, they don't even establish what this character is. Is she out of control? Is she in control? You got to just pick a word for a character and let them beat that word to death.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah. No, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
So they go. They're like, okay, we're gonna go to Armando's house and we're gonna screw this house. We have a whole thing with the tortoise. Very inappropriate. They end up backing into the tortoise and then taking it to a vet, and it's just like, don't even. Just leave animals out of it. It's not funny. You can't do it anymore. Ever.
It wasn't even they spend a ton of time with the tortoise because they're going to let it free. So there's like a 2-minute conversation about that. Then they lift it and they bring it outside, and then they're like, "Oh wait, I don't want to do this." And then they bring it all the way back inside, and they're talking, and it's 4 minutes of them dealing with the tortoise, and none of it's funny. And then at the end, they run over it. Also, not funny. There's nothing funny that happens with the tortoise. Everything that's funny is what happens inside. There's a couple of good jokes inside.
Kevin Hart goes to poop in his bed. He poops in his bed, and then they come back in, and it's this little tiny poop. And then they do 2 or 3 jokes about the little tiny poop for the rest of the movie. All of them,
good.
All of them landed for me.
And again, Dan, I don't love excrement, and either way, I thought this was consistently funny throughout the film. It was a great run of jokes, and good job, guys. You won me over.
And they worked it into other people knowing about this small poop and saying it was a rabbit poop.
Why would you let a rabbit poop in his bed? And he's like, I'm gonna stop you right there. That was my poop. That's funny.
That's funny. Marky Mark steals all of his left shoes. I'm like, it's great. It's hilarious.
Also funny.
Very funny.
They erase his DVR. That made me laugh really hard.
They erase all his DVR.
There are some very good jokes inside. Leave the tortoise out of it. Doesn't matter.
Except that the Uber driver comes in there and doesn't add anything. Oh, and then at the end, the Uber driver is inside and she breaks a plate. And then they come in and they're like, that's too far. Yeah. She breaks she needed to do something funny.
It's bad. Well, it's sure. Yeah.
She needed to I don't know what like destroy something real, like a piece of artwork, like
Yeah.
Picasso with a knife through it. Like,
Sure. Yeah,
that's a
something.
Picasso. Yeah, screw him.
Fuck it.
I don't know who that is. No. She breaks one plate, then she breaks another plate, and that's someone going too far.
That's it. Yep. That's all. That's all she wrote.
Okay, then we do the whole vet thing.
I will say,
Yeah.
the one thing I did like with the turtle,
yeah,
is that in the car when they're driving it to the vet, he's trying to give the turtle mouth to mouth.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I didn't like the snot joke that they made. That was inappropriate and disgusting. I'm just saying the idea that he's giving it mouth to mouth is funny to me, because I think I've told you this story that when I went ice fishing as a child, there was a fish in the ice after I caught it, and it was like gasping for air, and I felt really bad. So I gave it mouth to mouth.
Well, see, Tony, you just wrote the joke. If you're in the writer's room, what you would say is, okay, you have to make the turtle gasp.
Yes, 100%.
You have to do something to make them. You're just
the turtle seems relatively fine to us.
It's been hit by a car. It's going to have a broken shell. Yeah. It's not going to need mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
And
Give us a reason.
I think it was moving in the scene, and he was just kept putting his mouth. I don't know. It was very weird.
It's hard to tell.
But I liked the idea because I've done it, and it's fun.
Okay, Armando. Oh, the wife's mom talks about her half-finished erotic novel, so we know we're going to see that later on in the movie.
Yeah. Fine. It was fine.
Armando calls her, and he's crying because he's watched the video. They have video of them hitting the turtle, and then they move the house to his house. So the house is at Kevin Hart. The party's going to be at Kevin Hart's house.
Yeah.
And this is the ones, the Alan's there doing his kid's ADHD medication. He's at Legoland, and there's a whole sort of bit where he's like, I'm going to just leave the kids at Legoland.
It's a funny bit.
It's very funny.
Here's I want to step back just 1 second to when they arrive, Kevin and Mark. Everyone's already in the house.
Yeah.
How did they get into his house? There are hundreds of people in his house when he arrives. How did they get into his house? How did they get into the boss's house? So here's what happened: is I was confused. With Mark.
When they go to Armando's place, there's like a security gate just
is open. Doesn't make any sense. So I was like, I'm gonna let it pass because I thought some of the stuff they did was funny, and they just wanted to skip over it. But then now there's 100 people in everyone's houses are just open. In Sherman Oaks, not a chance, guys, not a chance. I was very frustrated by this. I don't know.
No, this is LA. There are no, you always watch.
Never leave your door unlocked.
You watch these movies, and they're like, they're in Minnesota or someplace that's not real.
100%. Wait, I said 100% because I was only half listening to that. It's real.
Try listening, Tony. I have a lot to say.
This is why I'm a bad actor. Now, I can't listen and react.
Did you guys lock the door of your house during the day?
So there's a very important time that it did switch. We used to not.
Sure.
It was not a big deal. Nobody cared.
So I could just walk up to your house when you were 7 years old and walk through the front door.
100%. That's how my friends used to come over. We would always be like, just come through the door. It's open.
1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we don't lock the doors at night. We didn't get an alarm system until I was in middle school, I think, is when I remember it.
You could have been stolen as a child. I could have walked in there, picked you up.
I'm on the second floor, guy, all right? You got to get through a lot of house to get to me.
Yeah. I could have been a worker at your house, know where your room is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. So we did not get it until there were reports of cars being broken into. And my dad's car, he left it in the driveway, was one of them. And all they did was steal the garage door opener. That was the move. And so my parents were like, well, they're going to try to get into the house because they assume people don't lock that door because the garage door comes. So then we got an alarm system and we started locking our doors. Anyhow, it's not an interesting story, but there was a moment where it switched because people heard about crime and they're like, wait, there's crime in the world? We better lock our doors.
So the special guest shows up at the party. It's Seal. And then he's made it so that Kevin Hart can play keyboards with him and sing horribly.
I thank you. Yeah, just really bad. They should have just had him play piano, right? I mean,
No
at
singing.
least you can fake that, or just get someone else to do the singing, because he wasn't very good at the singing part. But the piano, which he wasn't playing, was great.
There it is.
So, but I don't know. I did enjoy it. Seal's great. Miss him.
Miss him. He was right there. He's not dead.
I haven't seen him since Batman. So,
okay. So Kevin Hart's
by the rose on the ground.
Kevin Hart's feeling for his boy Huck, who says he's going to have to leave the country and go live in Argentina or someplace. And so he's like, I'm going to write the check. Snap of the fingers. Loan shark guy is there, and he writes him the check, and everything is good.
Yep. $47,000.
$47,000. Then Stu's in the pool. He gets like one line, so Drew got a couple of lines in the pool.
Yeah, which were fine.
Which were fine. They could have been funnier. One of the women from school does a cannonball, lands in the trees.
She's dead.
Okay.
I mean, it's funny, but she's dead.
And then the wife is somehow home.
Very fast.
Wait, hold on.
That happened so fast.
They're like at an island, and
I don't know where they are.
Fly home from this island
I'm just going to tell
Sherman
you.
Oaks.
I do not know where they are.
And I mean, this is the same night that they were partying in the desert, right?
And she's been talking on the phone with him maybe an hour ago. Tops. I don't get it. I don't know, Dan.
I mean, if Armando had like a Learjet or something, okay, maybe.
But he has to land it outside on the street because they're not landing at the airport. LAX to Sherman Oaks. Okay, let's say they have some money and they went to Burbank. That's still 20 minutes drive after you land. 10 minutes to get. I mean, the time doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
So they fight, and Huck.
This is where the movie falls apart for me completely.
They fight, and then Huck, of course, comes over there and says, "Gosh darn, your husband's great for giving me the 47." And then super good joke. She lands this joke. You gave him $4,700.
Yeah,
that was a good joke.
It was $4,700. How much was it? It's great. It's a good moment. It's a good moment, except for she. I mean, I guess people with money maybe don't take it as seriously as I do. I guess. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's the whole point. I don't know. I
mean, they have lots of money. It's not going to really set them back.
But then what's the point of it? You know what I mean?
Wait, hold on. If you were in Kevin Hart's position and I needed $47,000 to survive my life, you'd give it up, wouldn't you?
Do I have it? Am I in Kevin Hart's position?
Well, no, I mean,
absolutely.
Actually, the whole thing is what it really is. It's the money he's going to use to buy a new car.
Yeah. And
the real question is, if you had a new car and you had to save one of your friend's life at giving up a stupid car, and this is not you're not him. You're you or me. Would you give up that car?
Yeah, of course.
Instantaneously. You wouldn't even give it a second thought because it's a fucking car.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that then Naomi wouldn't care. You know what I mean?
Shannon would care, but she wouldn't be like, it would not be like you're moving out of the house.
You're moving out of get out of my life forever.
She'd be just like, you gave that to Tony?
Okay. Well, I think part of that problem is the recipient, Dan. I don't think it's necessarily the money or the car. It's just like, you gave it to him. He doesn't deserve that life raft.
Not so funny, Tony?
No. Is that what I'm known in your house? Not so funny. I could be worse.
Every once in a while, I'll go out there and she'll be watching him on the YouTube on the big television and laughing her ass off. She liked the It Follows. She loved that one because of how angry you got. She's like,
I hate that movie and people love it, and it is bizarre.
This is what Shannon says. You just got to find those movies that make him angry.
There are a lot of them. This is not one of them. So sorry. This is a bad show, everybody. I'm not angry.
So he goes upstairs and somebody has broken the Death Star, and his stupid dash kid is like literally crying on the floor about this Death Star. Tony,
whoa, Dan. Yes, I think we're about to fight.
Oh, you think that kid would cry over that?
Oh my God, I would cry over it. Are you
Why?
kidding me? That's first of all, lots of pieces, and that is months of work for this kid.
Oh,
and that he's only 12 years old. That's like half his life. he doesn't remember a time before he was working on it. I remember this one time, Dan. Quick story because it's not funny. My brother and I both play a lot of video games, and he had a franchise on Madden saved on a memory card because they used to do this shit on memory cards. And I accidentally saved over it one day, and he came to play it, and he was like 4 seasons in. I mean, this is like 120 hours into this game playing it. He did not forgive me. He still brings it up. It broke his heart, man. So yeah, no, the kids take this shit seriously.
I'll buy that. They didn't give the kid the right lines.
100%. I agree with that. I'm not arguing that.
That is a scene that you have to emotionally couch it like that. Because I just was
100%.
like, because the only thing we saw Dad putting it together.
We never saw the kid putting
it together.
I honestly, so here's what I will say is I thought the dad was putting it together for him. Because we never see him working on it. They should have been working on it together. And then the dad works on it when he misses his son. And then later, when it's crushed, the kid is upset because they've spent all the time. But they didn't do any of that. Idiots.
Get the Legoland guy in there. You need more
Legoland guy.
More of the stupid Uber lady. Dad freaks out. Maya leaves with the kids. And then this truck comes up there and destroys his van.
That was intense.
That was very intense.
That was scary, man.
and then it drives off, and I was like, oh, Marky Mark comes up, and he's like, that's my buddy. He did that for you. Insurance, you're getting the thing. And I was like, oh, okay, that's really clever.
It is. He just didn't really do anything like that. These are the kind of things that he should do is like kind gestures that are so over the top that it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Calm down.
I got to talk for 1 second about one of the greatest comedies of the last 5 years, Game Night.
Fired Up?
Game Night.
Oh, Game Night is so good.
One of the greatest comedies.
Yeah.
And everything in that, they build the characters along their lines. They never change characters. They're like, this is who this guy is. This is a guy that scams the system and always figures out a way to scam the system.
Yeah, that movie's and just a shout out to Jesse Plemons in that movie. That is fucking fire.
In that movie, when what is it? Is it blood or is it paint that the dog gets everywhere?
Yeah, paint.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great movie, guys. If you haven't seen that, go watch that instead of this movie. That's for sure.
Okay, so in comes Seal. Seal's got to take a lift to leave. That's a good little joke.
It's so sad. Poor Seal.
He gives Seal a check for $12,500.
Okay, I have 2 problems.
What?
My biggest problem, right? First of all, isn't he in debt? I don't understand any of that because ostensibly, I would imagine that check would bounce, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, Dan. But on top of that, Kevin Hart's character is yelling at Mark's character, and it's like he's not doing you a favor.
That's his issue. His big issue is not the money; it's the favor.
Right. But here's the thing: that's absolutely a favor. $12,500 for Seal, I would pay that in a heartbeat. That's friends and family discount right there, baby. I would pay that right now to get Seal in my backyard.
Yeah, and you're like, why are you bringing money into it again? And why are you making this hit being a favor and not a favor? Who cares?
Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. All of it is stupid. They made it unnecessarily convoluted.
It's not an actionable lie in a relationship. I don't care if you said it was a favor and then you paid the money. What do I care?
Yeah,
what I care about is I just gave you all this money and you have money. I don't understand.
Exactly. I gave you $47,000. You just handed out $12,500 to Seal. What's going on here, guy?
And that's what you'd have to ask him. That you're like, where's that money? And you're like,
but they don't.
It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, and then he kicks everybody out, and then I think he farts, and then Skylar is still there. Was that a fart?
It was a very, very long, loud fart. All right. Here's my thoughts on this.
I thought it was somebody moving a piece of furniture.
Nope, it's him releasing a fart because then he's like, "Don't come over here." And Here's the thing: it's the conceit is again, it's fun. Like I get it. You hold your fart until the other people leave. That's fine. I get it. You're terribly done, stupid, and it doesn't make any sense because he wasn't doing anything at this part. Like he didn't have. I don't know. There was no setup to it. It was just he's gonna fart.
More importantly, like Super Hot Girl Don't you just have to roll some temptation in front of him at that point?
I thought that they were going to do that when she was at the strip club, but they don't. They don't do any of it.
Very weird.
Yeah.
He farts. Call back at the buddy. It's not me. It was Huck. I'm back. We need time. You should tip my van works. Oh, he drives the broken van over to go live with the beekeeper.
Yeah, Dan. How far are you going to make it on the road in that van before someone pulls you over and is like, "This is not allowed on the street"?
That van, if the hit it took from that truck would never.
Oh yeah, it's not running
again.
That's for damn sure.
More importantly, why is he living with the beekeeper? That just doesn't make any sense. He should go live with Comb Over Stew. You should make him punished by the people that he knows, so that they know to make fun of him and give him
and
grief.
That sets up a great way to get some jokes about Comb Over Stew's home life. Because I don't care about the beekeeper. That's not even a joke. He keeps bees, and then he's just keeping bees, and you're like, yeah, you can stay here while I keep bees. That's not a joke.
So he's directing the talent show, which I think is the first time we've ever heard that.
Well, they did auditions earlier, and he was helping out with the auditions.
No, we're doing auditions now.
No, at the beginning of the movie, they were at some point, they were doing auditions in the little montage at the beginning of showing all the things he does.
I don't remember.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
So he's doing auditions or getting the kids ready, and then we have this little kid come up there and sing the Leonard Cohen Hallelujah. And then we sort of cut through these things. He gets the new van. The mom's having trouble with dealing with the kids. He goes and apologizes to Armando, who wasn't interested in the mom, but has like a hot girlfriend. His kid's off there practicing comedy and not practicing the thing. Then the kid ends the Leonard Cohen things, and he says, "That was shit."
Yeah.
What? And then he says it again, like, "Take it from the top, but don't do it shit again."
Yeah, and then he starts, and he's like, "Take 5. You're obviously tired." And the kid is crushing. I don't know.
I don't understand any of that.
Well, so here's what they're setting up. This is the first time in the 87 minutes that we've watched this movie so far that we're supposed to understand that he cares so deeply about this talent show that even a kid who's performing wonderfully isn't up to his standards. So he's like, no, that's not good. Put some emotion into it. We need to knock these socks off of these people.
Oh,
now,
wow, I didn't get any of that.
Nor should you, because that hasn't happened for the past 87 minutes of the movie, Dan. This is brand new information that then ties into the finale of the movie. That's incorrect storytelling. The seeds need to have been planted at the beginning and grown throughout, as opposed to like, oh, we need to wrap this up. What can we do? Let's make him care about something too much all of a sudden. It's so stupid. Just awful, awful storytelling.
So we're at the talent show. There's 3 good acts, and then they brings out the keyboard. His boy's up there, and he can't do the song, and so Kevin comes out there and is like, "I'm gonna play the song," which doesn't make any sense. And then the kid
doesn't make any sense at all.
The kid yells at Dad, and then Dad apologizes to the kid, and he just wanted him to have a good show. I wanted to prove to people that I had value.
Right, which is not what I got throughout the movie.
Yeah, I wasn't paying any attention.
I'm sorry, I'm okay with that storyline for Kevin Hart, but you didn't do that storyline up until this one moment. It's not how character works.
And he says some stuff to Alan, gets Alan in trouble with his wife, which was good.
I mean, it was funny. He blames the kid. That was a good joke. He's like, "You told me she was single," and he looks at the kid. He's like, "That was Justin. He's the liar." Very funny. Blaming the kid. That's funny.
And then he's like to his own kid, he's like, "Okay, now you could do whatever you want at the talent show," as if that kid would have a comedy routine ready. Like, if I was a kid back then, and we were doing some stupid talent show, and someone said to me, "Do something completely different of your choice," you would freeze and die.
What the fuck do you mean? I've been working on this for 6 months.
But no, this kid has his comedy show ready. He starts doing some crowd work.
I was disappointed that we only got 2 jokes from the kid.
Well, he did 2 crowd work jokes, and then we didn't even give him a real joke.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
And then he's about to start his routine, and we cut away. We've been building. That's the one thing throughout the movie that we've built, is that he's been working on his comedy routine. Let me fucking hear it. As far as I can tell, the kid sucks.
No, his crowd work was fine, so we knew it was going to be good.
Fine. It wasn't good. Well, okay, it wasn't great.
And the other thing is you've missed your Little Miss Sunshine moment. Your thing where you're just like, holy shit, this kid isn't good. This kid's fucking atomic.
That's what I'm saying.
He destroys.
Yep. That's a great way to make Kevin Hart feel like a real jerk.
And then he would stand over there and be like, oh, my kid is good.
But he didn't.
He did.
So it doesn't matter. We cut away because we don't actually care about anybody developing characters.
So Marky Mark gives him the money back. So he gets the Uber driver to take him to the marina.
I'm so glad she's back.
And then they storm onto this boat. Huck's making drinks for the loan shark. And Marky Mark looks so old.
Yeah,
It didn't look this way the rest of the movie. This saying he looked really old.
I wonder if this was like added later. I don't know. But he looks a little gaunt. Like he's lost a lot of weight from the rest of the scenes, it seems, and like his eyes are very sunken. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't notice these things. I notice that.
That's not good. That's not good, guys.
It's not good, people, when I actually know what's going on.
Yeah. When I actually pick up on that, it's gone too far.
Then he's like, you're great at parties, and I'm great with kids, so let's throw kids' parties, and then let's fuck up this guy's boat.
All of these things are confusing to me. At what point in this movie was he throwing a party that would be appropriate for children?
Nope. Never.
Yeah, this is a terrible business idea. Like, there's going to be strippers, there's going to be drugs at kids' parties. That's what I'm getting out of this.
He's good with kids?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Didn't see that through the movie.
Didn't see that at all. And then they fuck up the guy's boat, even though they're going to pay him back all the money, and this is just going to make them owe more money now.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
The guy that flamethrowers your party and ball peen hammers your fingers, he's not going to get bothered by you fucking up his boat?
Yeah, it'll be fine. He'll be like, oh, that's those rascallions destroying thousands of dollars on my boat. Oh, they're funny.
They should have done something minor and funny and then been like, ha-ha.
Yeah, it's all very weird. Although there was a joke that I enjoyed. Was this the pepper shaker, or did that happen earlier?
That was the pepper shaker.
He puts the pepper shaker down his pants, and he's gonna rub it, but then she starts pouring the pepper, and he's like, well, you did the prank on me, you idiot. That was funny.
Yeah, it's really funny. And then he's the big party that he throws is for his own daughter's birthday.
I got very confused because then it seems like they're at the rich guy's house. Maybe
it's at Armando's house. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm confused.
And then the last joke is about Huck wanting to marry the really weird, unattractive, problematic woman from the PTA.
And I didn't get it. Did you get it?
Well, like, he's hot for her, and then she's unattractive. And so that's funny.
That's the joke. Is that funny? Okay. Hey, listen, things go over my head all the time. I don't know. Maybe that's funny.
I mean, that's what they're trying to say is funny. It's not funny.
I understand that they think it's funny. I'm just confused on if we think it's funny because I did not laugh or get it.
Yeah. So, we're going to do this movie. Shannon's like, you don't like Kevin Hart. And I'm like, well, I've heard stories about Kevin Hart in real life that make me sort of dislike him.
Oh, sure.
I think he can be very funny.
Yeah. Yeah, he can be very funny.
He's incredibly funny in the Jumanji movies. He's incredible.
Oh, God.
But those movies are
good.
Made by real filmmakers. This is made by some, Babalu Mandel. This is like
Who is it made by? I didn't even look that up.
Didn't even look it up because I don't think you're going to get any answers.
John Hamburg is his name, and he's a scary-looking gentleman. What else is? Oh, Jesus! He wrote he did Why Him? Terrible movie. He was a producer on I Love You, Man. I do enjoy that movie.
Which one's that?
Let's see what he's written.
What's the
Why Him?
Yeah. That's
Bryan Cranston and James Franco, and it's like he's Franco's marrying his daughter. I don't know. I saw it. It was terrible. Oh, shit. He wrote Zoolander.
Oh.
Along
Ouch.
Came Polly, Meet the Fockers, Meet the Parents. Oh, that's funny. He wrote Meet the Parents, Dan.
Didn't learn his own lessons.
Didn't learn his own lessons. He wrote I Love You, Man, Little Fockers, Zoolander 2. So he started going downhill because Zoolander 2 wasn't very good either. Why Him, Night School, and then Me Time.
I don't think Zoolander 1 is a good movie.
Well, you are wrong.
There's some very funny things in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's not a good movie. It's kind of...
Yeah, it's fine. But I mean, Will Ferrell in that movie is... Got you. Oh, God, that's good.
Will Ferrell's very funny. Anything else to say about this great movie you picked, Tony?
I mean, I didn't hate it, but I thought I was going to... So here's the trajectory of my feelings from the movie. Started high... and then kind of like crashed all the way slowly and crashed all the way down into the last 20 minutes and then like bounced up. And then I was like, oh, okay, we're going to end strong. And then they swerved and it crashed and burned all the way down. So it was the end of a roller coaster where you kind of like go over the hump and then you smaller hump and then you go into the ground and die.
You died twice in this movie.
You died twice. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
So this is the part of the show where we pick something we like this week. We binged in one night the entirety of Inside Man, which is the Doctor Who guy Moffat. It's his new series, 4 episodes, an hour each. David Tennant, Stanley Tucci, Dolly Wells.
Why don't I know what this is? What the hell?
Netflix.
Is it like the movie Inside Man, but a TV show?
Not at all.
Wow.
Completely a new thing. And
there he is, Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci, you know, is beyond incredible. I can't tell you any about the prep thing of don't watch any. If you're going to watch this show, do not watch any of the promos. Just watch the first 20 minutes. The first setup is fucking amazing.
Okay.
And then the second setup just as amazing. It kind, it goes a little off the rails at times at the end, but
as they do.
They also did the really weird Netflix Dracula show, which was 3 things long. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, the one that was in a different language?
No.
Oh, am I thinking of a different one? Oh, okay.
He did a 3-part Dracula thing. They're each an hour and a half. And
okay.
Dolly Wells was in that too. And she was beyond amazing in that. And she's beyond amazing in this.
Okay.
And David Tennant's great. But Stanley Tucci, he's like, you know who the greatest actor of all time is? It's me.
Does he say that
no.
in the show? That breaks the fourth wall. It's just like, time out, guys. I got to tell you something.
There's just some stuff where the camera's locked off on him and he does stuff. And you're just like, way to act without just with more than just this.
I mean, he's good. He's always been great.
He just
I love him.
Does this acting. I was just like, I'm gonna rewatch stuff. It's phenomenal. I loved it.
I'm excited. That's great.
And it's possible they could make more of them. And I'm like, please make more of them.
Yeah, do it, guys, do it.
What do you got for us, Tony?
You're gonna be mad at me, Dan. You're gonna be very mad at me.
I'm very mad at you, Tony. I'm embarrassed.
So I'll say the one thing that I enjoyed this week is that basketball's back. What's up, Timberwolves?
Oh, okay. Good.
So I spend a lot of time doing that now because unlike football, that's 3 days a week, basketball is 5 to 6 days a week.
8 hours a day. You can watch, if you want to watch basketball, you can watch a lot of basketball.
My time's been a little run thin, but one thing that we are watching is Bachelor in Paradise. Let me set the scene of why. So we watched.
Why? Because you're puerile infant.
100%. But here's the kicker: is we watched Love Island UK the first couple seasons.
Yeah,
greatest show. It's phenomenal. I love this show.
Is one of your favorite characters coming back?
No, no. I wish. No. Chris Hughes is. Oh, I love Chris Hughes. He's great. If you look up Chris Hughes and then go look up the song "A Little Bit Leave It," they released a rap song after their season of Love Island based on one of their catchphrases from the show. It's incredible. It's a little bit leave it. So we watched that show. We love it. So then we were kind of started getting into these dating shows. We watched Joe Millionaire, which was a 10 out of 10, absolutely incredible. And then we watched our first season of The Bachelor.
Oh, you've never watched The Bachelor
I've
before?
never watched The Bachelor.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't even get through the season. It was
Really?
so bad.
Oh, okay.
I hate everyone on The Bachelor. They're all shitty people doing shitty things. And the concept of the show is ridiculous. And people get mad that he's dating more than one person, but that's the literal conceit of the show. I don't understand. So we got mad. Then we tried The Bachelorette because we're like, we got to try them all. It was just as bad.
Oh, okay.
They tried to do 2 Bachelorettes to try to be similar to Joe Millionaire, but they fucked it up and they ended up making huge mistakes right away. They're like, you know what? We need to keep them separate. So dumb. They're all bad at this show. So then my mom, my sweet, sweet mom was like, you know what you'll enjoy is Bachelor in Paradise because it's based off of Love Island.
They just ripped off Love Island.
Okay. They do their own sort of thing. So we are watching that and it is fucking trash. This show sucks, Dan.
Wait.
I
thought you liked it. This is the like it type phase.
I know, and I told you're going to be mad at me. That's why I brought up basketball. This show is terrible. These people are garbage human beings. Nobody that goes on The Bachelor is a good human being. That's the difference. The people on Love Island, maybe it's because they're Brits. I don't know. But they're genuine people.
Well,
no one on The Bachelor is genuine.
It feels like the people on the British show are like just blockheads.
Yeah, they're just dumb, sweet people locked in a room, and it's fun to watch. These people are all conniving and selfish, and they're all here for the wrong reasons. They all want to be famous, and it's just disgusting. And they're all crazy, and all the women are like, oh, man, I want him to show me how much he likes me. I'm going to go on a date with somebody else so that he can try to stop me. And it's like, why would he try to stop you if you want to go on another date? None of these people think like humans, and it drives me bananas. I get so mad every week, but we keep watching it.
Well, I think, Survivor sort of set that all up, didn't they?
Yeah.
Where you have heroes and you have villains. And I haven't watched Survivor in a while because that dude's a big Trumper that does the show.
Oh, really?
So Shannon's,
I didn't even know
Shannon's
that.
like, you can't watch that show anymore. I'm like, okay,
all right, fuck him.
And I wonder if, just like whatever the stupid house one is, Big Brother.
I used to love Big Brother.
And at a certain point, it's just like all these odious people. You're just like,
yep.
I want to have some people that I'm interested in at least. There could be weirdos, but
and I don't know if Love Island goes downhill because the first 3 seasons are all we've watched. And those were all before it became what it became. Season 3 was apparently the last season that during season 3, it exploded.
Yeah.
And so the people on season 3, once they got out, they were like, holy shit, my life has totally changed.
Got it.
So I'm interested to see if 4 through 13 or whatever just progressively get worse and worse as people go on for the wrong reasons.
Sure.
But Americans definitely do. The garbage people of the earth go on this show and they think they're fucking incredible, and it's the worst. So anyhow, that's my diatribe on The Bachelor fandom. Not fandom, sorry guys. The fandom's fine. No, the actual people that are in The Bachelor. What's it called?
Cast. They call it cast.
Cast. Great.
The actors or the talent.
Talent. Don't call them that. That'll get to their heads.
So I was like, Shannon and I were walking, and she's like, "Oh, do this movie, do that movie, do Wild Wild West." And then she's like, "You never take my suggestions." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, we're gonna do Wild Wild West at some point. I know
because it's the greatest film of all time. Jim West, Desperado. Don't want none of this. 6 gunning this, brother running this. I love it.
So terrible. So I was like, I better, get out the old Google search, I want to do a bad science fiction movie. So I'm like, bad science fiction movies, 25 terrible science fiction movies, going through them all. I get to one, I'm like, I've never heard of this movie.
Oh, wow.
I'm like,
oh, boy.
Anton Fuqua? Oh, yeah, he's terrible. I'm like, 2021? Oh, yeah, that was a terrible time for movies.
That was just last year.
I'm like, Mark Wahlberg? I know he's terrible.
Wait, what? What is this?
It's a movie called Infinite.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no, this was on my watch list for a while.
I haven't watched Look What the Rotten Tomatoes is, but I have the feeling this movie is just terrible.
I'll tell you, we watch a lot of movies and we never got around to it. It was always on the list, and it's always like, I don't know if we feel like that one today. That's usually not a good sign. But the guy that I really enjoy, Dylan O'Brien, is in this movie as well.
Oh yeah, your buddy Dylan O'Brien.
Not buddy was the wrong word. I wish we were buddy. I think we would be friends.
Oh,
he's a little bit younger than me, I think.
Oh Jesus, Tony and his friends.
Dan, it has 17% critic score and 34% audience score. Yeah, I think you nailed it. That'll be good.
Winner.
Let me just real quickly, I just want to say, I don't think Me Time deserves 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not that bad.
Is it 6% bad? No, it's. I did not walk away from this and say I hate the filmmakers.
Yeah.
Like in any real way, shape, or form. I didn't hate any. I mean, I thought a lot of the actors were like, yeah, someone's given them a lot more than they deserve. But
sure.
But I mean, they all sort of landed jokes, and they didn't actively cause harm to the movie. And that's, it's like your It Follows. The director and the writer, and the premise, they actively harm their film.
They deserve to be punished. That I agree. You're absolutely right.
They should be smited for what they have done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's one of the things you get with comedy is you're like, even though you're showing a giant donkey dick to a little girl in the movie, we don't think that you're a pedophile for it.
No, but I think you're not a good filmmaker because you don't deal with it at all.
Man, this guy wrote all those other movies.
I guess so. That blows my mind.
About.
Maybe his mind is slipping. I don't know how old he is. Maybe he's, going a little senile. Maybe that's the problem.
Pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week to talk about Infinite. If you like what you see here, leave us a thumbs up. You can leave us a comment. You can even subscribe. Man, I got all those right this time.
You did. If people don't do it now, we have no hope. Dan crushed it, everybody. Go listen to him.
Oh my God, we've run out of backup audio space. We better end the show.
Oh shit. All right, let's go. Wrap it up.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, watch it!